explore the edges of belief, cryptids, legends, paranormal anomalies, and supernatural claims. All right here with Home on the Strange with your host, Ashley Rain. And now here's Ashley.
Hi, and hello, Internet. Thank you so much for hopefully tuning in to this live episode, episode 4 of Home on the Strange with me, your host, Ashley Range. Again, just thank you guys. I know it's been a minute since I've been active here on this show, but hopefully trying to get back into the swing of things, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of me, not only on my own personal show, Home on the Strange here, but also with our sister show, Squatch and Holler. Some of you might have saw me in last Thursday's episode, kind of a special surprise guest appearance, but again, appreciate everybody's patience. The long short of it, of my absence, has really just been personal, family and personal things going on where I had to kind of take a step back and take care of those things because, family always comes first and priorities in the home always come first. But now that those things have settled, I'm here and just really looking forward to jumping back in the saddle and bringing you all the fun, talkative, goofy, Home on the Strange content that hopefully that's why you're tuning in for great conversation of all things high strangeness. So whether or not you're tuning in for the first time or a returning viewer, again, just as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. As you guys know, I am the worst at these intros. Believe it or not, I actually did script an intro and an outro this time, but I obviously am not the best at reading cue cards, and who does? Guys, you don't want me just reading this script, right? So obviously the magic happens in the conversation when we're actually talking to the guests, and it's free form and it's a free flowing conversation. Here at Home on the Strange, that's what we strive for, is just open and honest conversation wherever it may lead. In all things strange, whether that's cryptids, paranormal, supernatural, unexplained, mysteries, and everything in between. So that's really what this is about. Whether I nail my intros or outros or not, you guys are so awesome and supportive that I know that once we get to the heart of the conversation, it's going to be great. So again, for episode 4 of Home on the Strange, thank you so much for joining us. Tonight is a very special episode. We will be interviewing what I am now very happy to say, a very good friend of mine. Well, we're on the way to becoming very good friends, but somebody that I've been following for years as a content creator. His name is Cecil. You might know him as GoodBadFlicks. He's been, I would say, one of the more original YouTube creators for a very long time, for at least 16 years. Guys, I've been following him since 2008. And to say that he's had a very wide career as far as that goes and being a content creator is pretty remarkable. He does typically, as the name would imply, good bad flicks, movies so bad that they're good, or just kind of behind the scenes content on films. And it's just a personal interest that I have outside of the paranormal world. And as many of you know, when I started this show, my goal was to reach out to people who were not necessarily in the paranormal arena and invite them on the show to have these kinds of conversations. Cecil was actually one of the top people on my list, just again, favorite content creators. And when he obliged to come on the show, not only was I thrilled to have him, but even more thrilled to know that he actually has some paranormal experiences to share as well. So it should be a really great show. So thank you for your patience. And again, let's just jump into it and have a really great conversation. I'm going to bring in Cecil now, and Yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight, guys. So thanks so much for joining in. Hi,
Hi.
Cecil.
Hello again.
Hello again. Yes, we did meet backstage officially.
Mhm.
And again, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Home on the Strange. It's quite an honor to have you. And um, I I didn't lie to you. I'm horrible at these intros. I have a whole script. I have a whole script every single time. I script it out. I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm collected. We're always good talking backstage, and it's fine. But I just can't read a script to save my life. But once we get into the conversation, as I said, that's usually where the good bits happen anyway. So
It's all good. No worries.
anyway, Cecil, it is so cool to have you here, man. Like I said, now you've heard me say quite a few times over, I've been a huge fan of yours all the way back since at least 2008, maybe give or take. And it's just really neat. We were kind of talking backstage about, never meet your heroes, but thus far, you've been nothing but pleasant and enjoyable to talk to. I think we're going to have a good time. And I think the audience, um, again, whether they're tuning in now or later down the road in syndication, I think we're going to have a really good time. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I as some people know, I really am into a lot of paranormal stuff, and it's nice to actually be invited on a show to actually talk about that stuff. Because usually, when I do get invited, it's to talk about movies, video games, whatever. And I'm like, I kind of jumped at I'm like, ooh, we get to talk about weird stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad. So
Well,
thank you
and
for reaching
that's,
out.
of course, no, this has been great. And that's kind of, again, that's kind of my whole goal with this show is to broaden the broaden the scope of the conversation because again, as I've shared with you kind of behind the scenes and with so many other people on this show, whether they're viewers or guests, it's like not everybody believes in the paranormal. Sometimes we all kind of need a starting point. For a lot of people, they have experiences but no background in it. For them, it's like, what's going on? Some people don't believe in it, and that's fine. Some people have an interest, but they don't necessarily have an experience. And there's so many other variables to even those things. And so my goal is to bring on people of all sorts. I started with the people that I like and follow personally, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I just started to reach out to the content creators that I love and enjoy. And again, the idea is just to have a much broader conversation. So I was thrilled that not only did you get back to me, but um, that you had some paranormal stories to share as well. So before we get into that, though, Cecil, let's tell the audience a little bit about who you are and your channel. And um, I'm trying so hard not to jump into the movie monster aspect of it because it's so near and dear to my heart. But let's hear a little bit from you, from the horse's mouth, I guess themselves. Cecil, tell us a little bit about Good Bad Flicks.
Um, I way back in the day, in the late 2000s, I have a background in radio, and I at the time was a professional video editor, working for a college out on the East Coast, and so at the time there was what was called the rise of the reviewiverse, and it was all these people that all wanted to be either James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, or they wanted to be the next nostalgia critic. And
Don't
so,
we all?
consequently, they were taking the wrong approach from that. Like they didn't see that what those guys did was James was talking about video games and he was doing it in a very over the top way, and it was funny, and his personality and everything is what made it good. And then Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic, he was taking a variety of bad movies and he would attack them in a way, and he was silly and over the top, and his personality is what made it funny. Well, you had people that just saw, oh well, if I create a character and I yell and scream and talk about how much something sucks, then that'll be funny and I'll be a millionaire. And consequently, we had an influx of people who had really uh, no particular skills. Didn't know how to edit, didn't know how to be on camera, didn't know how to do. So they just kind of
I
made a
can
lot of
relate.
nonsense. Oh, you're fine. Believe me, you're already ahead of 90% of the ones that I saw back in the day. So I was tired of seeing all of these reviewers that were kind of going after like the low hanging fruit. They were taking movies that, are bad, but not really like that. Like there are movies that are legitimately terrible. And I will always kind of point at those and be like, look, you think this is bad, you need to see this. This is a really bad movie. To kind of put things into perspective. But when they're talking about, oh, did you see that movie, The Lost Boys? That movie stinks. And it's like, what are you talking about? So I have friends like all over the country that I met like back in the day on like the G4 internet forum days, right? Some and many of them are still like close friends. I actually have a bunch. I was the best man in one of their weddings, so it's like, so these are people that I met through forums that we actually became friends in real life, and we're still all really close. It's just that we live in different states, but thankfully, because of the internet, we all still keep in touch. So yeah, it if it wasn't for this thing, would be impossible. But so anyway, I mean, back in the day, we didn't have video chat that was this good. We had Xbox Live, so that was like that was the way that we all kept in touch back then. We'd all get together. All right, tomorrow night we're gonna play Rainbow Six. And
that scene Saving Private Ryan where it just like Matt Damon just
he just ages. Yes.
Yeah, that's what just happened when you said Xbox Live.
So so anyway, I had contacted them and I was like, hey, if I started a video series where I talked about movies that I like, would you guys be interested in watching? And they were like, sure. And so at the time, there was Blip and there was YouTube. And Blip was kind of like you could start getting paid.
Blip.
Blip.tv. You could start getting paid like right out of the gate, whereas YouTube was really, really, really strict and whatnot. So I opted at the time. I was like, you know what? I'll do Blip. And so I did Blip and I started uploading on there and I was sending it out to my friends and they were watching it and they were enjoying it. And after a few months of doing that, I started to notice that people that were commenting were people that I didn't know and telling me that, hey, this is really good. And I was like, oh, cool. I mean, in the beginning, it was just mostly my friends and family and stuff. And then I started to see like other people enjoying it. And then after about a few months in, I was like, you know what? I think I want to also bring this over to YouTube, because YouTube, it was becoming obvious that YouTube was the bigger platform. So I started cross posting. I would upload it to Blip and then it would cross post over to YouTube.
And that was like 2006, 2007?
No, that was like
even earlier.
No, actually later. I think it was like 2009. When I started putting my stuff over to YouTube. And as
audience, I only asked that because I've been a fan of yours since roughly that time, and I had to get out a calculator to do the math because it's like, has it been that long?
I know, and the thing was, it's weird because it doesn't seem like that long, but on the other hand, it does. Like, because it's like I've been doing this for a long time. It does and
it doesn't.
But anyway, so I started putting it over on YouTube, and I pretty quickly got like 10,000 subscribers, which was just huge, and then back then I know. And then shortly thereafter,
hell, I would like 10,000 subscribers now.
I know, like but the thing was, I wasn't really like on Blip. I did a video with if you know Obscurus Lupa. She's still going. She does like Baywatching and stuff, but she did a lot of she did a lot of the movies that are in my wheelhouse and stuff. So we did a video together, and I made $25, And so I was all excited because I was like, "Oh, I got $25!" And they,
That's
so
a
I
tank
got
of gas back in the day.
seriously. So yeah, I got now that's a candy bar. So I got $25, went to my PayPal and I was all excited. And then a short while later, I had a video that did really well and I made like $300. And I was like, "Woo, this is great." And because what happened was people were watching, like, they watched this video and then they would go back and watch all the other videos. So I took that $300 and promptly wasted it on Mystery Science Theater box sets. And because what else am I gonna? When am I gonna be responsible?
Manos, the hands of time.
Absolutely, got to buy that
Classic.
stuff. But I still hadn't really. I wasn't even able to be monetized on YouTube yet. And I don't remember what the parameters were, but I had gotten a thing to apply for AdSense. And we're now jumping ahead a bit to 2014. I did a video on the WTF What Happened to Movie Posters.
And it blew up.
And that went viral.
Up. Yeah.
And I was in shock. I was also upset because I was not monetized. So I made exactly zero on that viral video. But after that, I had my my AdSense thing, so I was able to set that up. I got
But
AdSense
what you learned was worth its weight in gold.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to like, that was what set me up, because then I was like, okay, that blew up, that took off, because that was when I went home and I told my wife, I'm like, I might be able to do this for a living. This, I'm like, I had a video went viral. That's crazy. And I mean, I had people like reaching out to me, like bigger channels that wanted to have me on. They never did, but they they wanted to
strike while the iron was hot, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was the what's the Screen Junkies? Screen Junkies, they wanted to hire me to be one of their writers. And I was
Why
like,
are you talking to me right now? Why are you?
No, because if I would have wrote for them, I would have had to quit this. And I decided, I was like, no, I appreciate it, because they were dangling the carrot in front of me. They're like, oh, well, if you're one of our writers, we'll have you on the show and all this. And I'm like, can I just be on can I just be a guest? Do I have to? And so, but anyways,
and
I'm glad.
Aside, you made the good call, because here we are so many years later. You're still doing it. You haven't lost the love for it, and that's what's important.
Oh, absolutely. I still love what I do. And so about a year later, the college that I worked for, they had a mass layoff. They laid off 138 people, myself included. And so I went home and I'm like, well, I got 7 months of severance. If ever I'm going to make this work, it's going to have to be now. And that was 2015. Here we are 10 years later. And I guess I made it work. So, because I'm still doing it. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been weird things with YouTube. YouTube right now is a little scary with their with how quickly they're grabbing onto AI automation for a lot of things. But there are a lot of people that Red Letter Media is another one that they prove that there is an audience that wants to know about a lot of these kind of films. And the thing is, I don't just talk about like bad movies. Like, I get a lot of people that will kind of question when I'm talking about a good movie. I'm talking about A Boy and His Dog, or I'm talking about any number of things. Like, they don't question when I'm talking about Nothing But Trouble. Like, okay, yeah, but they're like, wait, why is this on? Why are you talking about Final Destination? And I'm like, well, because it's got a really, really great story behind it. And nobody's ever told that story before. I've talked to so many directors, actors, producers, whatnot, that
you
they'll
do
have
your research, sir. I applaud you for that. That's one of the things that, as a fan, I've always appreciated. It's rare, but you've made corrections in your videos. You've You've really gone out of your way. And I really appreciate that the details of, hey, I couldn't quite get confirmation on this. This is how I'm piecing it together, but you don't ever try to push anything. And I think it comes off, it highlights your passion for it. Again, you've never lost your passion for it. I think for me, this is, and it's embarrassing because I can't actually remember the movie name. My favorite video I think you've ever done was, what's the one with Melanie Griffith with the lions?
Oh, Roar. That's a great
Roar.
story. Roar is
It was
crazy.
it was so good, and the details and the behind the scenes on a movie that either you know or you don't know. And I think I think we're kind of like the last generation to get those really just oddball movies that and I remember thinking like, man, not only does he pick interesting films, his takes are very interesting, very genuine, and it just because that's the one that stands out in my mind, it's like, ah, man, you're such a genuine person. And here we are years and years and years down the line. And I finally get to meet you in person. And I think it's just as true. So but I keep derailing you and I apologize.
No. It's okay. It's fine. I appreciate hearing that. I like being reminded of, because I've done hundreds of these at this point, and so there are ones where I forget. I mean, I it's not that I forget that I do them, but somebody will be like, oh, I love, and they'll remind, I'm like, oh, right, I did that 10 years ago or something.
10 years ago.
But the Roar episode was crazy because if you know Double Toasted, like they were talking about Roar on their channel, and then they brought up my video because the guy was like, did you see the crazy stuff that they did on this movie? That's nuts. And it's amazing that with all of those animals that like nobody died, like everyone got injured except for Mativo, who was the one guy who was like, I'm not playing around with these with these lions, and he was the smart one. He's the only one that didn't get didn't get maimed. I mean, Jan de Bont had to have surgery on his skull because he was still because it like a lion basically opened his head like a beer can. And I mean, I put the picture of it in the video, but yeah, there's a lot of times where it's funny. What was the one? I was looking up something recently. Way back, I did maybe 3-4 years ago. I did a video where I was talking about Dr. Mordred, which a lot of people think was it was Full Moon was making a Doctor Strange movie. And so I reached out to the writer, Courtney C. Joyner, and I was like, hey, I know that Jack Kirby was involved in like designing the character and whatnot, but was there ever a time where, this was a Doctor Strange movie and then it got changed?
Even just in concept. Yeah.
And he was like, no, absolutely not. He's like, it was Dr. Mortalis. He's like, it was always our ripoff of Doctor Strange, but it never was a Doctor Strange movie. And so somebody on Wikipedia put a citation to my video, but then they put like somebody else put on a citation not good enough or something. And I'm like, I talked to the guy. Like I talked to the guy who wrote it and he said no. And that's not good enough.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's not quite apples to apples, but like you have your hobby, I have mine. As far as weird, where is it? No, wait. Yeah, weird stuff. And when I interview people or take their testimonies as far as strange encounters, whether it's like Bigfoot or water cryptids or UFOs or whatever, and it's like I've been cited before. It's like, oh, that's not really what happened. It's like, well, I talked to the person who had the experience and I'm not saying it's my own experience. I'm just relaying what they said. And but when you put yourself out there in the public arena, no matter if it's here on the internet or on a book or, whatever, it's like you're free game, so to speak. So it's like, you just do the best you can, try to be authentic, try to be honest, try to be, I can't say the word integrity now without laughing because certain shows have ruined it for me, but try to handle things with integrity. But and it's interesting to me how the same things apply. You're trying to do solid, honest research when it comes to movies or their backgrounds or their histories or their behind the scenes or whatever. Same applies for me when I'm doing the interviews for the Strange Happenings. Like you just try to approach it in the same way and hope for the best. And there's always going to be trolls. Don't feed the trolls. And yeah, so that's really neat. So, man, where did you get your love for? And I'm trying not to necessarily pigeonhole it to just the movie monsters, but all of your, especially in the earlier days, your movies really did kind of, or your the videos about the movies that you liked had kind of a theme, or it felt very theme-like. Where did that come from? Because I know a lot of my love for monsters and cryptids and stuff spilled over to my interests. So things like kaijus and Godzillas or old school monster movies or the Hammer films, and all of that was kind of spillover for my love of the supernatural. So where did you kind of get yours? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I am not 100%, but I believe that it started with out here in the tri-state area. We had Creature Double Feature and Kung Fu Theater. And so
No way.
I would basically on a Saturday, I would get up early. I would walk over to the local 7-Eleven and get my my snacks and caffeine. And I'd come back home and park it in front of the TV. And I would watch either it was they kind of, sometimes it was Creature Double Feature, sometimes it was Kung Fu Theater. I didn't care. I was watching either because it was 4 hours of programming. And I would just park it and watch these movies. And that was how I saw Scream and Scream Again. And that was how I saw China O'Brien. And that was how I saw, the Dracula 1979, all of these killer movies that I wouldn't probably have seen otherwise. Because it was just like I was there to watch whatever they were going to show me. Whereas now, as much as I enjoy the joy of being able to just go and find whatever, there's something to be said about having something served to you. Be like, okay, well, here's what we got. Watch it or don't. And so I would, just week after week would sit down and would watch whatever they were showing me. And I saw so many things there. And, some people might say, why didn't you go out and play with your friends or whatever? And I did just after that, I would watch Creature Double Feature or, and then, because it was only 4 in the afternoon. So then I'd go get on my bike and go hang out with my friends or do whatever. And that was just, my Saturdays. And with the exception of 1 year, I got put in Little League. And so I did that. And I was just like, I don't like baseball. This sucks. I'm like, this is not. And so, yeah, I got out of, I did that for one summer and then I was like, I'm done. But
well, it's so interesting to me because I know we're about 30 minutes in and we haven't really talked a lot about high strangeness, but I do want to say there's some pretty interesting parallels here because I've shared this story not only on my own show, but a little bit on Squatch and Holler as well. So like I would get up on Saturday mornings to watch Fringe Discovery Channel because it was the only time you could get like reruns of Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of, or like Crop Circles, or just all like the documentaries existed, but they were very hard to find. Internet wasn't, it's not like you could just go and type something up and have whatever you wanted at your fingertips. If you really had an interest in paranormal or whatever, you had to really go look for it. TV shows, or documentaries, even movies to a certain extent, but libraries as well. And so it's just funny that when you have a passion for something, I hear so many similar stories of people who it's like, well, when you're a kid, you had to go find it, or it
Mhm.
found you, and you kind of latched onto it. So it's pretty interesting, the similarities. We were talking behind the scenes about our mutual love for things like, and I've talked about this before too, like that golden era of Fox back in the day, having all those, they were really on the front lines when it comes, like we were talking about, like Alien
Mhm.
Autopsy, and Jonathan Frakes. He did two Alien specials that I'm aware of, or that I remember, and he did one ghost one. Do you remember the ghost one where it's like, are these
No.
real ghosts? Yeah, it was like an
Oh,
hour
that's
long.
awesome. I didn't
It
know
was
he
an
did
hour
that.
long,
Mhm. But yeah.
and uh, imagine
Mhm.
ghost footage from the 90s. People actually submitting in their ghost videos from the 90s, total camcorder,
Oh, yeah.
not the stuff that you can recreate with filters and stuff today, but true blue. And you know what? Some of it doesn't make sense. And some of it I remember watching as a kid being terrified, but now I'm like, oh my God, that's such bad computer graphics. It's not even
Oh, yeah.
funny. Like, but I've said this before. I think there's always been an interest. I just think that it's kind of mainstream now. So, not to hijack the movie thing into the paranormal thing, but it's,
Mhm.
again, there's always parallels. There's always parallels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I think that was what led me into that. Like, I would watch Creature Double Feature, and then I would check out. That led me into watching reruns of In Search of, watching.
Hmm.
Was it Project Blue Book, which was,
Yes.
that was a show, but it was mostly about like debunking alien stuff. And
Did you ever see, and I'm sure you did, you probably did a video on it, and it's probably like not a repressed memory, but it's probably just up there bouncing around. Night Stalker?
what, Kolchak? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
I did not see that until sometime in the 90s when Sci-Fi Channel bought the rights to it.
Yep.
But that
Hmm.
was the other thing too. That was where I saw early Sci-Fi Channel was the best
The
because they
best.
had
The
Tales from the Dark
best.
Side, Monsters. They had reruns of the old Fox shows, like whatever, like they encounters and
Mm-hmm.
sightings, and
Hmm.
it was just it was great. It was just this treasure trove. And then with the X-Files kind of blowing up, um there was a whole community around the paranormal. This is going into the AOL chat days. So I would watch, you want a Matt Damon aging thing.
Dude.
I would
Dude.
watch an episode of the X-Files and then get on the computer afterwards and go to the AOL X-Files chat room and talk to people from around the world. And we're all like chatting up. Well, what do you think about this? And my name on that was Krychek after, Agent Krychek, like stuff like that. It was just so freaking cool. And I had a friend of mine that was in a band, and all his songs were all about like chupacabra and stuff. And it was great. It was such a cool time. But
What a time to
we
be alive.
I know, like, we were fascinated with the paranormal. We all had like some weird experience, and just it was just interesting. And a lot of this information was coming out because more and more people had camcorders and whatnot. And but now, like you said, with cell phones and everything, it's so easy to fake. But back then it was like
I was legitimately terrified of the Arizona lights. I thought the world was ending.
oh
I
geez.
thought this is it. The Independence Day, big old spaceship's going to come down and, zap everybody. But it's interesting to me, popular media takes the form of what is popular, right? And I think it, creature features have been around for a long time. Obviously, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For me, it's like the Godzilla. Now, was Godzilla the first? No, absolutely not. But he was probably the most recognizable and probably the most accessible for most people.
Mhm.
And what was he? He was a metaphor for the atomic bomb, but it then later became its own thing, right? And then so I do like how when it comes to that type of thing, it's just this real blending. You have real world horror that is then blended into some kind of movie or TV show. And I think the interests speak for itself. Um, I'm trying to think, what was that movie? So like you have something like The Legend of Boggy Creek, right?
Oh yeah.
Probably one of the most famous Bigfoot, very scary movies, one of the most iconic posters there ever was.
Hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people who would watch that movie today and be like, what's the big deal? At the time, it was this huge deal. And it, you know, for people like me who kind of grew up with it, those lines are so thin at points between, again, real world horror and those people having that experience to something that becomes kind of almost bigger than itself. Another example I would say is, and this is a bit of a stretch, but Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton.
Oh yeah. There are people that like, I mean, the last 10 minutes of that movie is a horror movie. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and it comes out of nowhere.
Hmm.
I saw that movie way too young by myself with nobody to guide me through it. And you know, it's
Hmm.
not so bad. And I blame, oh gosh, what is his name? James Gardner. He's like the nicest guy in the world. And he lulled me with this false sense of security that everything was going to be fine. And then,
Nope.
nope, nope. Um, anyway, so just stuff like that where, you know, yes, you can have a love for movies, which I do. I'm a huge movie nerd. I have, you know, my passions are far beyond just strange and unusual, you know, spooky stuff. But there's
Mhm.
always that kind of ley line, that connective tissue, that the similarities, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So,
Mhm.
man, wow, there's like 20 things I want to ask, and I don't know because each one will take this into a completely different direction.
Mhm.
So, what, if any, like let's try to hone it in a little bit. Do you have a preferred, I won't say favorite because I know ask somebody like you, what's your favorite? You know, it's so hard, right?
Mhm.
What is your preferred, dare I say, favorite real world monster movie or TV show, like a Bigfoot or like a werewolf or like a something that's not necessarily completely made up or might even be in like a cryptozoology realm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I am a sucker for movies about the reticulans, the gray aliens.
Yes.
Like
Okay.
I've seen a lot of them, some good, most bad, but a lot of times they're interesting. I get a really nice surprise every now and then. There's a film that came out about 10 years ago at this point, called Extraterrestrial. And it's essentially a horror film where this guy and this girl are like trying to not get abducted, and it's it's done, I don't want to say on a small budget, but on like a small
Is that the
medium
one with Natalie
Michael
Dormer
Ironside.
from Game of Thrones?
No.
There was
Uh
one where there was a man and woman, they were honeymooning on a camping trip, and it was
that was
quite
just
scary.
that was a movie, well, there was a movie that was just called Honeymoon, where it was a guy and a girl, they were on
Mhm.
their honeymoon, but that wasn't Natalie Dormer. It was actually no, it was what's her name? Rose something. It was another girl from Game of Thrones. Um But yeah, that was actually a neat movie. But that was more of
You Know Nothing, Jon Snow. Her. Yeah.
Right.
And-
Yeah, that
yeah.
chick. You know what? I've never watched Game of Thrones.
Nobody's perfect. It's fine.
I have so many. Well, a short story. There's a guy I used to work with who he watched it and he wouldn't shut up about it, and it made me like not like the show because he wouldn't shut up, and so consequently, I never watched it. Not the fault of the show. I never said that the show was bad. I had no interest in it. And now that we're removed from it, I know that I should watch like the first, like, I think 5 seasons and then just make up my own ending.
You're good.
Because the last season was terrible. But yeah, so anyway, and I had that I have a bad habit of that. That happened to me also with The Sopranos. I worked with a dude who just would not shut the hell up about The Sopranos, and it made me hate the show. But
I found that one later in life. I was way too young it was not on my radar, but as an adult, you can go back and kind of appreciate it.
oh yeah. But anyway, but yeah, I love a good, like, because there's so many varieties of gray alien movie. You have the one with James Earl Jones, which is the Betty and Barney Hill story, which was based on the first alien, the first attributed alien abduction. You have Fire in the Sky. You have Extraterrestrial, which is more of the horror aspect version. You have incident in, how was it? UFO abduction incident in something county, which was the like found footage film that everybody thought was real for the longest time.
I was going to ask you, people either love it or hate it. There's no in between opinion that I have found. What's her name from Resident Evil?
Mila Jovovich.
Yes, the fourth kind.
The fourth kind. I like that.
I really liked it too.
I liked at that point I had never heard of the owl thing, and then I looked into it and I found out that is a whole thing where there are people that have abducted and they thought that it was owls, and it's like, oh my god, yes, owls, because they look like aliens. And
so
yeah.
here's a great thing about that. Whether you like the movie or not, I don't think people realize everyone wants something new, but then they get something new and like, no, that's weird, we don't like it. Okay, right. But make up your mind. Do you want new, or do you want, it's okay if you want McDonald's every night, but if you want something like, new, but they did their research. Was it a little bit schlocky? And maybe schlocky is not the right word. Was it a little bit over dramatic in parts? I tell you what, that movie, maybe it was the time, maybe it's a product of its time. I remember being absolutely shaken by that movie. Now, if I went back and watched it now, it'd probably be a little bit cheesy compared to some of the stuff that I've seen and have experienced since then. But as you're saying, they did the research on the owls. Those were real reports. They interviewed real people. And while the stories themselves weren't legitimate in the sense of like word for word retelling, they were definitely inspirations. Like, I don't think the average audience realized what they were trying to do. I mean, all the way even to what is her name?
Mila Jovovich.
I can never say it. I've never been able to say it. I just say hall pass, and usually people know what I'm talking about. Hall pass, her. But when she walks out and she actually engages with the audience and says, hey, this movie is, was it gimmicky? Maybe. Especially by today's standards, but they were really doing something different. And I applaud them for that, because it was not only scary, but I believe at the end, they even invited people. I think there was back when movies had websites, it was kind of a big thing.
Right? That was such a cool thing.
It really was. And to my very long exaggerated point, the interest in this stuff never goes away. It develops and it ebbs and it flows, but it's just funny to me. People who, I think we're roughly the same age. I'll argue and say maybe you're a little bit older than me, but I feel like we're somewhat in the same ballpark. And what the alien conversation looked like then versus what it looks like now. I mean, honestly, I think we've all seen the memes.
Oh yeah.
There's a stick figure, and it's like this guy, and there's an alien, and he's like, the alien's like, I thought you would be more excited to finally meet us. And the guy's like, listen, dude, I have a lot on my plate right now. So unless you're going to pay my bills, I got a lot going on, man. Like, aliens could land now, and we'd just be like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing now though is if an alien landed on the White House lawn and it was on TV, everybody going, AI. It's
AI.
look, it's so fake. You can see the alien's got 3 fingers. You know, it's like, and so I think everybody is just so now more than ever is what's going to be crazy, because if there is some definitive proof of something that comes out because of something like AI, everyone is on guard. So everyone is defaulting to the fact that it's going to be fake.
It's already
And
happening. We can't
can't
every
verify
good,
like what's real, what's not anymore.
it's getting so hard. Not impossible just yet, but man, it's getting hard. And then, you know, there's things that I've seen in this, I say line of work, but this hobby, this passion. I've talked to so many people who have shared either pictures, videos, stories, stuff that's not necessarily public either.
Mhm.
And I have no doubt in my mind that what I'm seeing is legitimate, that it's coming from a legitimate source. Now, I'm not saying necessarily what it is. I'm not definitively saying, oh, that's a dog man, because how would I know? But I've seen things that I believe are legitimate, that if it were to be kind of on a big jumbo screen in, you know, Times Square and the world to see, I could easily see how it would be just picked apart. We have some of the most definitive Bigfoot footage out there with the Patterson Gimlin footage that, spoiler alert, I believe is legitimate and genuine.
Mhm.
We're still debating it years later. Like, that's something else I wanted to pick your brain on. The like the argument you hear about, like, say, Planet of the Apes and the technology we had to create suits in the 60s versus, you know, oh, that was just a guy in a suit or whatever. Like, man, there's always going to be an argument for that kind of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah. The thing is though, it I it's too perfect. And by that I mean is that it's too perfect for it to have been faked. Like, I mean,
I love when people have opinions on it. I'm sorry. I'm being a creeper. Like, yes, tell me
it's like,
more.
yes. No, it's all good. I think that you know, you had a couple of guys that were up there. They caught this footage. I mean, you've had so many people deep, you know, looking at it from different aspects, and it's just it's too good, you know. I mean, it's too good to just be, oh well, these guys, they went and they got a suit and they faked it, and I mean, the one dude on his deathbed, you know, said it was real, you know. So he could have said that it was, you know, faked, but so I think that
And I
it is
think
definitely like the most definitive, but it's also crazy that it's the only. Now, years ago, I talked to a guy named Christopher Munch, and he is, I don't know what you would call him, but he's like a Bigfoot expert.
you're in the
And
right place.
yeah, you know, he made a video called Letters from the Big he made a movie called Letters from the Big Man that was
Yes, with
about
the what's her name from American Horror Story. I'm actually, I like that movie.
Lily Rabe.
Yes.
However,
Hmm.
yeah, she's terrific because the movie is basically like her in a cabin by herself for most of the movie, and every now and then Bigfoot is
Which you
kind
have
of,
to be a very strong actor to be able to carry a whole movie by yourself, especially
oh yeah.
one featuring a Bigfoot. Like, kudos to her. I actually really do enjoy that movie because it was such a sorry, I keep interrupting you with
It's
my
okay. It's
excitement.
okay.
um I love when people approach the topic of Bigfoot in movies sincerely.
Hmm.
I don't mind Bigfoot schlock when um, time and place, but when it's an oversaturation and then it just becomes, I hate to say it, but just gross or like a grindhouse type thing. Like what?
Hmm.
Okay, like what's the point? What are we trying to do here? Um, but movies like that aren't, Henry and the Hendersons, and it's also not. Um, I'm trying to think of a schlocky Bigfoot movie. Now nothing comes to mind. I blocked that out of my
I
memory.
know
But
there's one that's so it's one I got a lot of requests to do it. And I don't know if I want to do it or not, but it's a found footage movie about Bigfoot where like it's one of those ones where everybody sucks. Like I hate found footage movies where like for whatever reason it's like everybody's a jerk, and it's like can we at least have like one or two people that are just normal people? Like that's why there was that movie. Oh God, my brain is not working. Um, that movie,
I'm on the
Primal
edge of
Fear,
my seat.
Primal Fear, Primal
Yes.
Fear. Fantastic Bigfoot movie because the Bigfoots in that were like really smart and they were like hunting people for sport. And that one I liked because it was so unique. The people were like genuinely good people. You felt bad for them. The Bigfoots were fantastic looking, but I like that. But the reason why I liked Letters from the Big Man was because for once Bigfoot's not a monster. Like
No.
and that was the thing that he was trying to say with it. Explaining
Passion
how
project. That's the word I was
Passion
looking for.
Project.
Passion project.
Yes. Big it was funny because when I reached out to him, I'm like, hey, I would love to talk about your movie. I was letting him like overwhelmingly know that I was going to be coming at this from like a respectful position and whatnot.
Mhm.
He was really skeptical because I think like he's gotten like made fun of essentially for, "Oh, you're making a serious Bigfoot movie." And excuse me. So I talked to him and he was a really interesting guy. And man, one you want to like when you're talking about somebody who 100% believes in something like that is that outlandish. Like, I mean, I think that like Bigfoot is real and whatnot, but
You
um
don't say. Please
he
continue.
but he's somebody who has done like hundreds of hours of and I mean, so he's much more versed in it. I'm just like, yeah, I think it's real. He's like, no, I know it's real, and here's the proof. And he was such an interesting guy to talk to and talk about why he wanted to make this movie and how like he was really happy that I wanted to talk about it because like it's not trying to sell a serious Bigfoot movie. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see Bigfoot is the monster in the woods. And again, I get that aspect of it, but I get the other aspect of it. Why can't we have both? Why can't we have one?
Why can't, why can't we have both? Because,
Mhm.
that's a very good distinction because I want to make this clear. I had a comment a while back because just a little sidebar for your information because, for your information, um, my best friend in the whole wide world, shout out to Amanda, aka Amanda the Bigfoot Lady, for everybody who's tuning in. Catch her and her show with Roger Williams on Swatch and Holler on Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The plugs. Amanda is the Bigfoot Lady, right? And she actually works at Expedition Bigfoot in Blue Ridge, Georgia, one of
Mm.
the nation's like best Bigfoot museums. And there are people who are very knowledgeable out there, and it's like people say, "Oh, how come we don't have proof? How come? Oh, we would have found a body by now, or oh, that we would." I don't think people realize the proof we actually have. Just because something's not front page news or just making national news every which way doesn't mean that it's not out there. Like, how often are you in the woods and you see a bear carcass? I've
Hmm.
never seen a bear carcass in the woods. Do I doubt bears exist? No.
Right.
So there's always people to talk to. There's always, I try very hard not to use the word experts because, like, especially in this arena, there is no such thing as experts. We're all just enthusiasts, right? And I feel like my plane just took off in a random direction. So let me try to land this plane back to my original point, which was Bigfoot is a scary thing. And if you've had an experience with a Bigfoot, it can rock your whole worldview. It really, even somebody like me who has an interest in these things, I recently, very recently, within this last 6 months, I actually had my very first Bigfoot encounter. I'm about positive what I saw was a Bigfoot. And I'm fortunate to have enough of a background to at least in my head not try to talk myself out of what I saw. Now but even what's the word I'm looking for? But even then, my instinct was to try to fill in the gaps of, but it was so tall, but it was so tall, but it was so tall. Well, okay, well, big. That's kind of what they're known for, right?
Right.
And so I understand Bigfoot as a scary thing, and I don't mind there being scary interpretations of Bigfoot. I really don't. But the other side of the coin is true. I've talked about this in another video where I have two favorite depictions of Bigfoot in media. First and foremost is Bigfoot as shown in the Goofy movie, because it's perfect. It was absolutely perfect. It was so random and wonderful, and I think a product of its time, just like we were talking about the 90s. Like, it just fit. I don't know why, but it fit, right? And without going into extreme detail, there was this show on the Disney Channel in the late 90s, early 2000s called So Weird. And it was kind of X-Files for kids, or like Diet X-Files. And it was actually produced, one of the producers was Henry Winkler, of all people, if you can believe it. Like the Fonz.
Oh, Henry Winkler, he produced Fringe. He produced a lot of like that kind of stuff. Yeah. He really, he had, yeah, he liked it.
We could get Harry Winkler. If anybody in the audience knows Harry Winkler, do your girl a solid. I would love to interview him. But one of my favorite depictions of Bigfoot actually came from that show. And I recently rewatched it to do some in a preparation for something else in this kind of realm. Not only does it hold up, I have a better appreciation for it now as an adult, rewatching it from when I was a kid. And I'm kind of monologuing at you, and I'm not doing a very good of asking you questions at this very moment.
It's okay. It's okay.
But it's just so fascinating to me. What would you say your favorite depiction of Bigfoot is in media, and why?
As far as like, I mean, my favorite depiction of him, I really enjoyed. There was a movie called Exists that I did a video on, where basically the one director, Eduardo Sanchez from the Blair Witch Project, it was like a dream project for him. He wanted to do. He grew up. It was his version of Boggy Creek. Like, he grew up with Boggy Creek, and he was like, why aren't there more Bigfoot movies? I want to make, so he's like, I want to make a Bigfoot movie. So that, he went out and he saw what he wanted to do, and he made his own Bigfoot movie, and it was really good. And unfortunately, it had the bad timing that Bobcat Goldthwait did a movie called Willow Creek, and that got all the press at the time. So, which was also a Bigfoot found footage film.
Is Bobcat still alive?
Yeah, Bobcat's still alive. Bobcat's like, he's like award-winning director now and stuff.
I know.
Which is just crazy, but I honestly, I did not like, I was very excited to see Willow Creek because I liked his other movies, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I did not like Willow Creek at all. I've been told to go back and give it a rewatch. I've been meaning to, but I never did. But Exists, I thought, was fantastic. The Bigfoot suit was phenomenal. The story itself, I thought, was great. Just the way that it was done was really fascinating.
Sorry.
No, it's cool.
Um, I'm not being funny, but like George of the Jungle, Congo.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of all those like ape movies and how it seems like ape technology in the 90s was so popular, right? I think even Mighty Joe Young had some animatronics or whatever, but
Yeah, they
we
had
were
the
talking,
the animatronic, Joe, with there was this, I mean, it was crazy. Well, the technology for Amy in Congo was just ridiculous. Like that, it looked real. Like they did an amazing job with that. But that's why another thing, like why I would love a they could do a man in a suit animatronic mixture Bigfoot movie now, and it wouldn't even have to be like a huge budget. Make it like a 10, which to us it's a lot of money, but to Hollywood that's $10 million is pocket change.
what did you were you made aware of the budget for Godzilla minus one?
Oh yeah, that was like not like I think what was it,
Nothing.
13 million or something, like
Like not even.
insignificant compared to well, I just not to keep throwing this about me, but I was talking about today I put out a video about Invasion USA, and Invasion USA was made for $12 million. Even adjusted for inflation, that's about $34 million today for an action movie where they basically took over Atlanta, Georgia with like tanks and all this stuff. And I'm like, now these budgets are $300 million.
That
And
crafts table ain't gonna pay for itself.
yeah, it's insane the amount of bloat. Like there was a comedy, I think it was either Reese Witherspoon or Jennifer Aniston. It was $120 million romantic comedy.
For
Why
what?
do you need to spend 120? Because I think 50 million of that was just for the actors. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's insane. Like that is absolutely insane. So yeah, I would yeah, Godzilla minus one looked incredible, blew Hollywood out of the water, and cost relatively next to nothing.
Next to nothing
So
in Hollywood terms, and
mhm.
the fact that they painstakingly painted frame by frame it black and white. It wasn't just a filter. Like oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Um, there's other topics I want to get into with you, Cecil, but I have to ask you. I'm pretty sure you talked about it in one of your videos, but we were talking about aliens and what the hell happened to Skyline? What was that movie? What were they trying to do?
Skyline was the first movie, right? Because now there's a few of them.
Yeah.
The first movie, it was the brothers Strauss. It was two brothers who were visual effects artists, and they wanted to make their own movie, and they wanted to prove that they could make their own movie. So what they did was they shot
They made it all right.
well, the thing I respect them for doing it, because what they did was they hired a bunch of people who they knew and a bunch of people who were friends and actors and whatnot, and they shot.
Big names or recognizable names for
Well,
sure.
they'd been in the industry for a while, so they've made a lot of, as visual effects guys, they made a lot of friends, and they shot the whole thing guerrilla style in the apartment complex where they lived. Like no permits, no nothing. They just shot the whole thing, and then
We
they
don't need
went,
no permits.
no green screens, no nothing. They went in and had to composite everything out, and they basically wanted to prove that they could make a movie that looked like a big budget a big budget Hollywood sci-fi
Blockbuster.
movie for like peanuts, essentially. So they made this for like a couple $1 million, shot it all, handheld guerrilla style, and they did it all, and they presented it. And I think it was Lionsgate who bought the rights, and then I think they spent a couple $1 million to make it. Lionsgate then that went on to spend like $10 million in advertising, like dwarfed the budget of the movie to advertise it. And it kind of went, and, you know, some people love it, some people hate it. And then one of the visual effects guys that worked on it then took it and kind of went off and made like continued the story, made like Beyond Skyline and all them, and they're fun. Like I want to do, I'm going to do a video on it at some point, because it's
Please
a really
do.
interesting story, because it basically was it was a couple of guys who had been working in the industry. They knew what to do, they knew how to do it, and they knew how to do it like cheaper than Hollywood. And so they said,
It
you know what,
felt
I want to
like-
make a movie, let's make one.
It felt like I could feel the potential. Like it was this buildup, and it was just, for me personally, I'm not saying I hated the movie, but I feel like the actors were given a different script to what was visually being presented, is I guess my biggest critique. But I didn't hate the movie. It had all of my favorite, hey, I know that guy actors in it. And I think I would have liked, personally, again, not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying, as much as I say I wish scripts would be more original, if they would have honed it into a more battle over Los Angeles, I think, like the actual real world event. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a me opinion of, I hate to say this, but too much originality versus trying to focus it on something that maybe the audience could really latch onto. I will say one of my favorite scenes, and that's how you know it's a good movie, or at least there's a good part in the movie, is the parts that stay with you. That scene with, what's his name? He was
Eric
in the
Balfour?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with he's got that really,
he's a very unique looking guy.
yes, he's got the devil face, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like he's got those really sharp features at the end, and his body's just discarded, and you're like, oh my, like it was so shocking. And then his essence, his life, his consciousness, his soul, whatever, is like fighting in the robot to save his girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever. And that stayed with me. So it can't be a horrible movie.
I liked it for what it was, because I went in with, I had no idea what it even was. Like, it just, one day I saw the poster. I think it might have been on Netflix or something, and I was just like, you know what, I'm in the mood for a sci-fi movie, let's watch this. And I'm like this is like, it's not it's not a great movie, but for me it delivered a good experience. And honestly,
that's fair. That is fair. That's a very good way of phrasing it.
If at the end of the movie, if I'm entertained, that's all I ask for. There are some times where, the movie is like, goes above and beyond and blows you away, and you can't wait to tell people about it. But this was like just a good, entertaining film. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. And then after that, was when I started looking into it, and I was like, oh, wow, this was, because I'm like, oh, well, what, how much did that cost? Like $50 million. And I went and looked at it, and I was like, $5 million? What? And then I was like, oh, because it was two brothers that had a visual effects background. They did everything themselves. I think they had I think to your point of where you wanted the people to react, they looked like they were reacting to something different. I think it was because they didn't really have a script. They kind of just did everything like off the cuff. They're like, okay, here's a rough idea of what's happening.
I can't talk crap, because that's literally my whole shtick.
Exactly, But that's the thing. So it sometimes that works. Sometimes, like, there was a movie called Coherence, which had a brilliant premise, but it was shot very amateurish. It was a found footage movie, but it wasn't like, it was it was shot found footage style, but it wasn't a found footage movie, if that makes sense. Like it just was like, so the camera was like out of focus, and they didn't do their white balancing, and the audio was bad. And there are people that adore the movie. They say it's brilliant. And I think that it's a great idea, but I thought that the execution was so poor that it made me not be able to watch it.
What was the one? And I'm positive it was a found footage, and it was come on, brain. Stop acting like it's Monday.
Mm.
The Russian pass, the it's only live. It's only forever. It's only on the internet forever. I know what it is. I just can't pronounce it. Datlov Pass, the Russian mountain hiker, the mountain climbers, the hikers. They're the mystery of what happened to them, and the whole camp gets wiped out and nobody knows what happened. There was a kind of sci-fi-esque movie, fairly low budget movie that they did, and I don't want to give spoilers, but there's this really great, not theory, but just an interpretation of like a time paradox and a portal that I thought was so brilliant, because it kind of, by making nobody happy, they kind of made everybody happy, or I guess by making everybody happy, they made nobody happy, because it's like, it kind of answers, was it supernatural? Was it paranormal? Was it a government cover-up? Was it all of the above? And I like when movies kind of play on that kind of thing, to not necessarily give a definitive answer to a mystery, but just like, here's a fun interpretation. Especially the real world ones, I think are particularly interesting. What I asked you what your favorite Bigfoot movie is. What's your favorite alien movie? I know I just broke my rule. Don't ask what your favorite is, but it
it's understand. God. I mean, if you want to go like serious alien movie, I'd probably say Fire in the Sky.
Yeah.
If you want to go like your big, I'd probably just go with Ridley Scott's Alien. Now that's, it's an alien, but I mean it's not the, it's the xenomorph alien. It's not the the gray alien. So but I mean, because that's the thing. There's holy moly. I'll tell you a quick story. I was very young. I was about maybe 9 years old, and we went to visit my uncle, and this was back in the day when it took forever for a movie to get released onto home video, and so my uncle had a bootleg of the original Alien. We went over to his house. We were visiting. He's like, you got to see this movie. I had no, like I said, I was 9. I didn't know. He puts it on. We watched we watched 9? A bootleg of Alien on a 13-inch black and white TV. It looked like we were watching. It made it even scarier because the quality was so bad. It looked like we were watching like surveillance footage. It terrified me.
Ethereal's not the right word, but oh my goodness, that's like undue trauma.
Yeah, it stayed with me. Like, I mean, I remember seeing the alien chest burster, because there's nothing like that before that. And so everybody, like, we were watching it, it was me, my sister, my dad, and I think my mom, like my mom hates this kind of stuff, so she went in the other room. So we're watching it and just glued to this little tiny 13-inch TV, watching one of the best movies ever made. And as much as I love Alien, and as many times as I've seen it since, I've never been as scared as I was watching that really crappy version of it, all those years ago.
And rightfully so. I mean, I was getting kind of goosebumps imagining what that would be like, that extra element of fear. And oh man, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, that these things are not only interesting to talk about, their portrayal in media is there for a reason, either a genuine interest, curiosity, an entertainment value, of course. But again, the ley lines are always there, whether we perceive them or not. And whether you're talking about aliens, Bigfoot, whatever, it taps into something. It taps into something that I think we all have. Even if you laugh at the idea of aliens or cryptids or whatever. I mean, I was joking with a friend just the other day that give it 5 years and we'll have a movie based off of the Jersey drones. Like it will come around, you know. And my goodness. And I have to just take a break to say I do really appreciate you entertaining this conversation and allowing me to keep kind of bringing it back to the spooky nature, because I could go either way.
I will. By default, I have a tendency to kind of always bring it to movies, but I know we're like I even said at the beginning, I'm here to talk about the paranormal. So please keep guiding it back to that direction. If I go off the rails.
And I'm technically the ringleader, so if it goes off the rails, it's my fault. But likewise, I also have a love for movies and pop culture and media. And it's kind of the horse before the cart, or the chicken before the egg. Do I like certain media because I have an interest in these things? Do I have an interest in these things that was made stronger because of the movies? Like I've spoken about this on other episodes. I was a very scared, like overly scared child, and yet still pursued the things that scared me. I would scare myself silly watching, you know, ghosts caught on camera, or, you know, Bigfoot caught on camera, or even hell, I had nightmares over the the Unsolved Mysteries theme song would just send me into
it's the best thing. It's so creepy.
It's so creepy. Like, it's so good, and it's still it holds up. And so I think it's so interesting to have these conversations with people like yourself, who, like, the paranormal is not necessarily your arena, but you're able to hold your own on a conversation. And again, the spillover to me is also worth talking about, because whether we're talking about movie monsters, real world monsters, experiences, and things like that, I can see similarities in your childhood in the very little that we've shared. And I can say, oh my goodness, yeah, I saw this movie way too young too, and that kind of shaped this and that. And I think with most of these kind of topics, that's where we're going to have the best conversations. And that's where we're going to find those, I'm not kernels of truth per se, but just that's where the good conversation happens, where it's like, it's very validating, I think, in whether it's movies or stories or whatever. So again, just to say thank you for being here, and thank you for having these conversations. And I think it's hopefully refreshing for the audience to talk a little bit about movies and whatnot from this perspective, because it is important. Because again, not everybody believes in the paranormal. For some people, aliens really are just a Hollywood construct. Ghosts really are a Hollywood, you know, oh, ghosts aren't real. It's just, you know, to sell paranormal activity tickets or whatever. Like this might be the segue. This might be the jumping point for people to say, oh, wait, there are people who've had experiences, or, oh, I had experience, but I thought it was just me. I thought it was just crazy. I know so many people. That's not true. That's a little bit of it. I know a few people who had an experience with something paranormal, and all they had to go on were movies, because they didn't have a safe place to go. So example, and this is actually unintentionally a very good segue. I have a family member, well, not by blood, but somebody I think of as a family member, older person in my life, who never believed in the paranormal, had a paranormal experience, and the only frame of reference they had for anything like that was the movie Poltergeist, of all movies. Like, I know that sounds kind of silly, but they ended up, and I want to be careful because I'm trying not to be specific deliberately, but they rented the movie Poltergeist so often from Blockbuster. Blockbuster just gave them the movie, just said, just here, take it. You've paid for it like 5 times over. Just take it.
Wow.
because again, this was probably, I don't know, somewhere in the, I would say mid 90s just to be safe, maybe early to mid 90s, whatever. But like, imagine having an experience and the only outlet you had is some really well made, really beloved movie. Like I would feel like I was going crazy. So to have these conversations, even if they're about movies, if the threads all lead to the same place, then that's a good reason why we're here. So I just monologued at you and the audience for like 10 minutes. Thank you for putting up with that. Was it that Monty Python skit? Oh, you wanted complaints. I'm sorry, this is abuse. That's what I do to my poor audience. I monologue at them, but I digress. So let's get into it because we have probably 30 or 40 more minutes before we have to reevaluate if we're wrapping it up or not. But a part of bringing you on the show, Cecil, you did say that you had a, and I don't hate me if I got this wrong, but would it be fair to say a haunted house experience, an actual ghost experience?
I guess, yeah, that would probably be. I've had a lot of oddball paranormal things that have happened to me over my lifetime. I think probably because sometimes if you go looking for something, you find it. And I was really, really, really into that kind of thing, and I went looking for things and I found them. So I think that's one of the reasons why you get people that are like, I never saw a Bigfoot. Well, you live in the city, you're not exactly, have you gone camping ever? So I think if you go to where the things are, there is a chance that now, not saying that you're always going to, but like when you watch the ghost hunter shows, they go to where there are places that are haunted. Or at least reported haunted. And a lot of times they will, they'll go there and they still won't see anything. But the one that I think you're referring to, I was about 16, and me and a couple of friends, we were always, going and looking for somewhere to get into trouble. And there was an abandoned building that was out that we knew how to get to. And we knew that we knew the way to get into the building because the entire bottom was all boarded up, but somebody had gone in and excuse me, there was the front door, and they sawed the door in half. So the bottom part was still like boarded shut, but you could swing open the top part and climb in. And the entire bottom floor was all blocked off, so there was no sunlight. But if you got upstairs, those windows weren't boarded, so there was light up there. And
sounds all OSHA approved.
Oh yeah, this place, I probably got tetanus, like 10 times while I was there. So we get in, and you jump over the door and get in, and you land on a pile of beer bottles because they would just drink and just throw their beer bottles and woo. So we went upstairs, and again, I think it was like I think it was like I was 16, and then I think it was like one dude who was 15, a girl who was 16 that were there, and we kind of walked around. It was a pretty big house, but it was very oddly constructed. Like it had hallways that went nowhere. And
so it went full Winchester.
It kind of was like a little mini Winchester. Like it had a window that looked into another room. Like it was just very, very odd.
Like that. I don't.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
H.G. Holmes.
Yeah. So we walked around, and the other thing too that was weird was, we of course weren't the only people who knew about this place. So there were people that would go in there and party, as such as the beer bottles that were there. And there was
like a horror movie.
It really does. We seriously we walked into a horror movie, unbeknownst, and thankfully we got out unscathed. But there was like a dirty mattress in one of the rooms, and it was just like, yeah. So, but of course, 16, we're all like, yeah, we're in the house, it's cool. Look at this. So we're all walking around this house, and it was like middle of summer because this was summer vacation. And I went into one room, and
Did the house have lore? Like, was it like the old haunted house, or somebody was murdered in that house, or what was like? It was just the
no,
old house in the
it was
woods.
just the old house that was abandoned. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I I went and was trying, like, I didn't know what the address was, because by the time we found it, like, it was all boarded up, and any sort of registry or whatever, and it wasn't on like a street, it was on like a dirt road, so I don't even know if they had an address per se. They might have had like a PO box or something. It was
There's
really,
somebody
really
in the
strange.
comments who's like, "Why didn't they just Zillow it?"
was a little bit before the internet.
Gather round, children, and have a seat. Story time.
Listen, an old person's talking.
Respect your elders.
So yeah, so I went into a room and it was cold, and I knew that something was wrong because it was the middle of the summer.
Summer, yeah.
And there was a room that was cold, and I was like, that's peculiar. And I felt like something like nudge me, and I'm like, so I turned around, and I remember, like, I was in a room, and there was like it was one of those rooms with like 3 windows behind me. And so I turned around, and the windows were behind me, and I'm looking, and something nudged me again. And I'm like, okay, because at first I thought one of my friends like was messing with me. He pushed me and ran off, and I didn't see him. So I was like, okay, now I know there's nobody behind me, because I was just looking in that direction. So I went out, and
where was the contact? Do you recall?
In like this, like towards like the center of my back, like so I just enough to kind of, and it was just very, very strange. So I went and I got my friends, and I'm like, there's something really weird. And they're all like, oh, you're just being stupid. And so I eventually was like, oh yeah, all right, fine. I calmed down. I was like, oh, I just must have imagined the whole thing. So we sat in one of the rooms and just talked about dumb stuff. And we eventually left and just never went back. And I had talked to other people who had gone, and they had like not similar experiences, but like they were in there and they felt like they had to leave. They're like, they were in there, and I'm like, well, did you feel like you had to leave because there was a presence there, or did you get an odd vibe because you found like a dirty mattress there? And we're like, I think maybe we should get out of here before the dirty mattress people get back. Because I mean, it could have, a homeless person could have been living there or something.
Yeah.
Or, and so so years later, the house gets leveled. That developer bought the area and put up houses and stuff. Now, I don't know how true this is, but my cousins who lived in the area had told me that the house that it was over where that building was have reported odd things happening. So
that's interesting. You don't normally get usually, because that's a complaint we get in this topic matter. It's like usually the hauntings, or this wasn't a haunting. We don't know, but
you don't know what stuff.
Strange stuff usually disappears when the building disappears, and that leads into, well, what was it? Was it a ghost? Was it a haunting? Was it somebody astral projecting? Was it stone tape theory? Like what was it? And if something was strange just in that area as opposed to the building itself, I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, possibly because it was in the woods. So, I mean, maybe something happened in the woods. So it was in that area, but it was going through the house.
Literally a scary movie.
Yeah. It was, I've done many things like that were very stupid, and thankfully, suffered no ill fate because of it.
And before
But
the internet was forever.
yeah, now we'd be, we would have been. I'm really kind of glad that cell phones and all that weren't a thing back then, because I'm sure I would have done something incredibly. I mean, I know I did incredibly stupid things. It's just that they're not on video. So
Yeah.
I don't have anybody to be like, oh, look at you doing this really dumb thing. And it's all over the internet, and the internet's forever. So thankfully.
Did you have a concept of ghost or paranormal going into that house? Like, did you ever think, do you recall thinking in your head when like the push, like, oh, like did ghost ever pop into your mind, or was it one of those things where it's years down the road and you're like, wait a minute, dawns on you?
No, that was like the first thing that popped into my mind, because I had already seen, In Search of, and the kind of shows like that, and so I
Also,
wasn't.
sidebar,
Mhm.
does it not amuse? I feel like you are the type of person who would appreciate this. Leonard Nimoy, In Search of, right? They later tried to revive the show with Zachary Quinto, who played
Who
Spock's
played
character,
Fox character?
which is, I actually kind of loved it. I thought that was really fun. But now Shatner has his own show, and he's had it for a while, but still, I'm like, that's such a Shatner thing to do, to just come in and be like, I'm going to have a paranormal show. And
He, my uncle, the cool uncle that showed me Alien at 9 years old, he's a reporter, and God, I don't even know how long ago, 10 years ago at this point, he calls me up and he's like, I just talked to Shatner. I just interviewed Shatner for like 2 hours. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. He's like, he
so cool.
is fascinating. He's like, he is, it was funny because I remember him being like, he's really, really sharp. And that was 10 years ago. And he's still like pretty sharp. He's an interesting case. He's a guy who I would love to talk to, but
I would love to interview that guy.
At this point, he's picking and choosing because, I mean, sadly, his days are numbered at this point. I mean, dude's like 95, I think, at this point or something. Like he's up. I know he's in his 90s. But
so I was watching this show, and I can't, because they all have the same names. It's all just like choose your verb, choose your adjective, choose your pick, and it's like unexplained mysteries or mysteries unexplained, or they're all the same show with different combinations of names.
They have a remix of Unsolved Mysteries theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
or like the race car noise of whoosh.
Oh yeah.
That's really popular. But I was watching this episode with Shatner's show. Now, granted, I have no idea. Maybe it's a few years old. Maybe it's brand new. I honestly don't know. I just plugged it into the TV for background noise. And I give him credit. He's on a stool. He's not moving around. Like they got him on a stool. He's comfortable. Mm-hmm. He looks a little bloated and his eyes are a little puffy. But you know what? I give that man credit. He shows up and he works. And he can take, because some of the videos are like, okay, whatever. But some of them,
the unexplained.
Thank you. Yes, the unexplained.
Yes, it's been going on since 2019.
Yeah, because when he the first episodes, he's a little bit more physically active. Like there's one bit where he's on a Segway that I just find so funny. Whatever you're imagining, yes, it's that. Yeah, it's exactly what you're thinking.
Oh, I need to see this.
But the reason why I like it is, regardless of what he believes or thinks or has opinions on, he presents it with just enough Shatnerism where it's like, okay, well, that's it's entertaining. But he always speaks about the videos and the clips and the questions, not necessarily respectfully, but at the very least professionally. And I just appreciate that little detail.
Well, I'm looking at this. I see that the most frequent guest he has on is Dr. Michio Kaku, who is quite possibly one of the smartest people on the planet. So I think that does lend a large bit of legitimacy to whatever you're talking about. If you're having him on, like he's brilliant, and he's one of those guys that has he does a really good job of explaining an incredibly difficult topic in a way that, you know, our monkey brains can understand.
They say that's the marker of true genius. It's not your capability of understanding something, but it's your ability to explain a complex thing to in layman's terms is what is the quantum in making you smart or genius or whatnot. But
yeah, he's brilliant.
So we have what could possibly be a haunted house. That's actually really, when I say it's cool, obviously it wasn't cool at the time, but like,
no, it was cool because I wasn't like I was scared, but I wasn't like terrified. Like there have been, you know,
so there was no vibes of like, we got to get out now.
No, I felt like we shouldn't be there, but I was dumb enough and I had enough bravado to where I was like, you know, I'm not leaving. This is I must have tripped, you know?
Yeah.
So
isn't it crazy how our brains try to fill gaps or to like, oh, like you said, oh, I wasn't pushed. I fell or I stumbled or somebody hit me.
I was standing still, you know, and I tripped. It's just, I mean, honestly, if that happened to me now, I probably would be like, all right, yeah, we got to go. Whatever in here wants us to leave. But, you know, I was 16 years old. I was invincible, you know, and, you know, as you get older, you realize, you know, if you know, you take some punches, I mean, I was in a car accident where I wasn't wearing a seatbelt and I put my head through the windshield. You know, you have those moments where it's like, oh, right. I could die. I gotta be not dumb.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was coming home from my girlfriend's house at the time, and I got
funny story. I was in a car crash that I was in a car
crash. I did not have a near-death experience though, but
that was going to be my next question.
I hit a drunk driver. Now, the reason why
that's not funny.
It's very funny. This is a long time ago. Believe me, I'm over it. The reason why I hit a drunk driver is because I had a green light. He had the red light. So he ran the light, but I plowed into him. So I wasn't wearing my seatbelt like an idiot. But I had an airbag in my car. So the airbag went off. I hit the airbag, ricocheted off the airbag, hit the windshield, passed out, woke up when the paramedics were carrying me out of the car. And I got a bash on my head and whatnot, and I had to go to like physical therapy and stuff. But I was living at home at the time. It's a long time ago, and they got my wallet. They called my parents, and they're like, you know, your son's been in an accident. He's at such hospital, and they're driving to the hospital, and they pass by the accident on the way to the hospital. And they see my car, the front end is completely smashed in, and the windshield is shattered with my blood smeared across the windshield. So they get to the hospital. They're like, he's dead. They're like, oh my God, because they took them probably about a half hour before they let them back to see me. And I was okay. All things considered, I took a blow to the head and I had to get some physical therapy for like my neck and stuff. And I was actually kind of bummed. I thought I was going to get like massages and stuff, but all they did was put me on a treadmill. I was like, cause I had a buddy of mine, he plays hockey and he always got injured, and he's like, oh, it's great. He's like, they're going to put you in a hot tub. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I get there and they're like, all right, go run on this treadmill. I'm like, this sucks. So I had to do a few months of. I was like, I guess I need a better HMO or something to get the hot tub treatment. So
it's not like your parents' version of seeing Alien on a 13-inch black and white. That was their traumatic.
That was their traumatic thing. So they got there and they're like, "Oh my God, you're alive!" And I'm like,
"That's not apples to apples." I'm so sorry. That's not funny. I'm so sorry.
No, it's completely funny. It was a long time ago. I am all healed from that, and like I said, well, I had come to find out. Oh, the thing that it was beneficial. I'd forgot about this. there was a off-duty fireman who was waiting to make a left-hand turn. He saw the whole thing. So when the police and the paramedics got there, he was one of the ones that came over to me right when the paramedics were, because the hospital was right down the road. So he called 911 and then went over, and but the police got there and he's like, it's not his fault, because it looked like it was my fault because I hit him. But it turned out that, and like I said, he opened his car door and beer cans are falling out. And so he was just.
Did he have a dirty mattress in the woods somewhere?
Yeah, he had a dirty mattress in the woods. He was on his way to the car. Yeah, he was some
Sounds like the same guy.
Yeah, I think I keep running into that guy. So anyway, but I didn't have a near death experience. I think because I really just. I guess thankfully I didn't die. I just
thankfully
I just bonked my head, and it sucked because I was out of car for a while that was getting repaired by insurance and everything. But
it's such a youthful problem to have. Like,
yeah, it was like, oh, I have a car. Yeah, so I had to like bum rides and stuff, and but it was fine. I'm just glad that, I will say one thing, it taught me to wear a seatbelt. Because ever since then, I have always worn my seatbelt, and
all your loved ones do too, I bet.
All my loved ones, absolutely. We do not go anywhere until the seatbelt is on. It was because it was just, I don't know, it was just youthful indiscretion, stupidity. I get in my car, I'm like, you need more seatbelt, and then I'm sitting in the ER and my head's bandaged, and I'm like, I think maybe I should have wore a seatbelt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, but it's another one of my funny because I always tell. I tell my son these things so that he'll learn from me, and I say, don't be stupid like your father. Like, learn from me. I did a lot of dumb, youthful things, and I was like, wear your seatbelts. Don't underage drink. Don't smoke. So as of currently, he's a good boy. He's got he's an honor student and whatnot, and so he's learning learning from my mistakes. So.
That's actually really sweet.
Oh, I love him to bits.
Oh, I'd hope.
and he really inadvertently, I introduced him to, like, I wasn't sure how, because he's kind of a scaredy cat, because when I was real little, I was a scaredy cat. But like, I've shown him like aliens and Bigfoot, and he does really like a lot of paranormal stuff. Like, he loves ghost stories, and he thinks that all that kind of stuff is fascinating. So, he's a little bit creeped out by it, but he's because of the way that his brain works, he's more intrigued than the want to know more is overriding the fear.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
So so he's starting. I've started him down that road. So he's enjoying it. I'm giving him like the little, like, we're watching like the old, because I bought the box set of In Search Of on DVD. So we're watching those ones, and I showed him like some old episodes of Encounters and Sightings, and he's, really getting into that. And we joke about, Nessie and just all things paranormal. Exactly. Nessie. We're not joking about you, but about the, about the I need about Trufity. And
hey, you're in the right. If not, is this, I geek out on all this stuff. This is why I wanted to do this show, because again, and I know I'm a broken record, you've all heard me say this, but the best conversations that I've had about all the things that I love don't necessarily always stay in that specific realm. One of the best conversations I've had about, say, Ironically, let's see, where is it? Oh, no, I never know how the
You
camera
had
works.
it. You had it the first time.
Yeah,
There you
here
go.
we go. Lake Okanagan, Ogopogo. That's Canada's Loch Ness
And
monster,
there's
if
Loch
you
Ness.
will. And one of the best conversations I ever had about this came from the most obscure, random conversation, and it was based off of I don't know if you've seen it. People have either seen it or they haven't. And when I tell people who haven't seen it, they think that I'm making it up. But there was this really funny TV show called Mike Tyson Mysteries.
No, no, I have not seen this, but that sounds amazing.
It's an animated show in this like the old Scooby Doo Johnny Quest art style,
Hmm.
and it's
Was it
Mike
like
Tyson.
was it like an Adult Swim thing? Kind of
Yes,
sound. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I don't think it was on Adult Swim specifically, but that kind of
That kind of,
shtick.
yeah.
And it's Mike Tyson, voiced by Mike Tyson. Norm Macdonald plays this just dirty bird pigeon, literally a pigeon,
Hmm.
and several other voice actors. And they just it's what they go and they do. They solve mysteries and make it 10 times worse than before they got there. It is not to be taken seriously. It's as absurd as it sounds, and
Hmm.
it's very inappropriate. Audience, I'm not necessarily recommending it. I'm just saying the show exists and I've seen it. And I was talking with somebody about this because they not only had an episode about the Loch Ness Monster,
Hmm.
they had a completely separate episode about Ogopogo, which is
Huh.
like literally not just mentioned, I mean, central part of the story.
Hmm.
Loch Ness is kind of low hanging fruit. I can handle a Loch Ness monster joke, or
Hmm.
it's not unusual for Nessie to pop up in things. I mean, heck, even The Simpsons had a Loch Ness monster hook at one point. I mean, it's kind of like Bigfoot. It's the kind of catch all, right?
Right.
Ogopogo is so it's very niche. Like you either have to kind of know what it is because you know what these things are, or like, or have an interest in these things. But to
Hmm.
just have a random Adult Swim-esque show, have a whole episode about it, draw it out, have a character design of this thing, and have it central to the plot of that episode was so mind-boggling to me. And they even call it Ogopogo. Like it's not interpretation. It is Ogopogo, and they find it. And I'm sad to say that bad things happen. Spoiler alert.
Oh no.
Yeah. But again, because I talk too much when I get excited about these things, but one of the best conversations I had about Ogopogo that led to real world research that led me to an actual person that I was able to interview came of that show.
Hmm.
So is this particular episode you and I are doing fully about monsters and cryptids? No. But again, it is important because that's the spring of the conversation. So man, I'm so stoked. I'm stoked because I love movies, I love pop culture, I love paranormal and spooky things. And it's just so cool to find somebody to have that conversation in that just kind of incorporates all of it. And I feel like we could keep going forever and like, and then this and then that. But man, I'm so jazzed. I'm just so jazzed right now. You've been just an awesome guest, Cecil,
Well,
and
thank you.
really just this has been fun. When the conversations are good, when you forget, like I've forgotten that we're live like at least 5 times during this whole thing. It feels like talking to a friend, and I think that's really cool.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Did you
No,
have
I
any?
enjoy. I'm enjoying my time. Thank you.
Oh yes, no, I hope so. You haven't rage quit, so that's a good sign.
No, no.
I've not had that happen yet, but I try to I try to be respectful of guests and their time and their preferred topics. And I've heard some horror stories of people being walked out on in mid interview, and it's just like, oh, that's too serious. We're not here to be super serious. We're here to have fun and have good conversation.
Absolutely.
Did you have any other? I don't want to shoehorn them in, but we still have some time. Did you have any other spooky, weird, fun experiences you want to share?
I had like a few oddballs. I think it might be too long to go into them all. So I mean, if you want to have me back on another time, I would be more than happy to, to share them. But I mean, I had when I was little, I was fooling around with a Ouija board, which was terrifying and really stupid, and I shouldn't have done it. But there was the time when I was in the Boy Scout, was the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts, one or the other. I don't remember what, but I saw a UFO, just creepy, weird shit. There was a time I did a sensory deprivation tank. Which,
you went full Stranger Things?
Yeah, well, for me, I went altered states, but
yes.
I know apparently they did the sensory deprivation tank at some point. That one I can kind of tell you really quickly because there's not as much of a story there. I always wanted to do a sensory deprivation tank ever since I saw altered states, but I didn't. I always thought you had to go to like a lab or something to do it. And then one day, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was talking
as
about,
we do.
As one do, and I don't listen to him very often, but this is one of those instances where I was like, he was whatever subject he was getting into one of his paranormal binges, and I was like, all right, yeah, now I'm all for this. So he was talking about how he would go and he would go to a sensory deprivation tank, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so awesome, that's what I want to do. And then he's like, his guest was like, well, how do you find that? And there was a website that was called, I think it was like Where to Float, I think it was, and it would tell you places that had sensory deprivation tanks in your area, and there are sensory deprivation tanks in your area. So I found one that was about an hour drive, and me and my wife went over, and I paid for, they only had one, so we had to take turns. So she went first, and then I went second. And my wife, I don't want to say that she's a control freak, because she's not. But she likes to be in control, like, of herself. So when you do a sensory deprivation tank, for those of you who don't know, you go into a room, and it is you lay in a pool of water it's salt water, and the temperature is the exact same temperature as your body, and the salt water makes you float. So you lay in this thing, and it's completely dark, and it's 100% soundproof. So you lay in this pool of water, and the sensory deprivation comes because you are floating essentially in air. You can't see, you can't feel anything, you can't hear anything. So when
yours didn't have lights or anything. It was you chose to have pure dark.
Oh yeah, no. It's not a sensory deprivation. You're not depriving the whole point of it. Because I haven't seen the episode. If they put lights in it, that's not a sensory deprivation tank. The whole point is to deprive your body of all of its senses. You can't hear, you can't see, you can't feel. You're just weightless. And so I was laying there, and at first, like, nothing really happens, and then your brain starts to go into overdrive because it doesn't know what to do, because it's
panicking.
It doesn't get the usual input of smells, senses.
Need input.
Yeah, need input. Need input. So I started to see colors and started to have like all kinds of weird thoughts, and it was just a really unique
And that was
experience.
before the mushroom snows.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Rogan was like, "Oh, I do some edibles." And it's like, well, then what's the point of doing that? You know, if you're gonna be dosed. So I did it. I was like, so we're driving home, and I'm talking to my wife, and I'm just like, oh, it was so neat. I'm like, I saw all this, and my wife's like, I wouldn't let myself get into it. Like I just would, no. She's like, I would sit up, or and I was like, oh, that kind of defeated the whole point of it. She's like, no, I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't like being in a dark, warm room for an hour. You know, I loved it. I thought it was great. I would totally go back and do it again. And the thing was, the guy that ran the place, what he did, his whole business was come out here to sample this and, you know, pay $10,000 and I'll install one in your house. And I'm just like, no, I'll keep coming back and pay like $50 for an hour or whatever. And, you know, I'm not going to, I don't need one of these in my house. So
do you feel like you were more relaxed? Because people do it to relax now.
Yeah, people do it. There's now ones in the city where they have like pods. I guess probably because of Stranger Things, they got more popular and more people knew what they were. But yeah, there's like pods where you can go in and lay. My skin felt really smooth afterwards. I was like, like, because I'd laid in a salt bath for an Epsom salt bath for an hour. And
well, not just salt. I mean, it has to be
minerals and like whatever, it was really cool. Like I felt I mean, you have to kind of relax. You have to let yourself go, or else you're not going to have the experience. So
I know a lot of people go in and they have. I know a few people who've had like. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I agree that like, oh, this is a thing that can happen. I'm just relaying the information. I've had people go in with the desire to just relax and then almost having like out of body experiences because they get to a point where it's like they're just so open, I guess, from not having all the stimulation. And because you're constantly distracting yourself, you're distracting what you're hearing with what you're seeing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So no one sense can get like all of the information at once. And when you have it all turned off, I've had people say like they started to like detach from themselves and they didn't like it.
Oh yeah, I've heard, I've read books too, where people that are practicing astral projection will do it in a sensory deprivation tank. So they will,
or like the ping pong thing where you take the ping pong ball and you cut it in half and you put them.
Well, you don't even. I mean, in if you're in a proper tank, you don't even have to do that because it's just like I've been, in the middle of the woods. I've been places I've been in caves. This was as dark as, I mean, it is. It's like I could hold my hands and just not see anything. It was so black. It was like I was blind. It was crazy. Yeah. And I know, that it really is. It's nuts. Like you can't even conceive. I didn't even know this level of darkness existed. It's because, you're dark. It's like, you kind of can still see a little bit, but this was like pitch black. And then laying in this pool and getting to, initially you're like, okay, but once your body regulates itself, you do feel like you're floating, in nothingness. Yeah. And it was such a weird experience. I really should do it again. I had a really good enjoyment. Your sign. Yeah, I think I'll have to do it again. That would be cool.
Well, we would go over a little bit, but if you are willing, I would love to hear the Ouija board story because I am such a huge note. Like there's a lot of things you will not catch me, and a Ouija board is one of them. So I made my dad, I remember he sat me down. I was like 11 or 12, so not quite a teenager, but old enough, like preteen. And it was so weird. My dad swears he never did this. He doesn't remember doing this. He did this. It was like a random Saturday. He pulled me aside. He's like, hey, kiddo, come sit down and talk. Like, I want to talk to you. And probably not as calm as I'm saying it. I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, I couldn't figure out what I did. Normally I knew what I had done to, like, but no, I was like, what? I didn't do anything. Why are we having this conversation? He sits me down. There's nobody else. Like, mom's not there. Other kids aren't there. And he's like, we need to talk. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, basically the long short of it is he made me promise him that I would never own or wear go-go boots. Like, I would never own a pair of go-go boots. Like, adamant, not just like any other boots were fine, but there was something very specific, like no go-go boots, that I would never go to Tijuana under any circumstances, and to never touch a Ouija board.
Wow.
And he was so serious. Like, and my dad's not a very serious person, so I was kind of waiting for the bit. I was kind of like, waiting for the joke. And he's like, no, like, he's like, I don't care if you're grown up. And he's like, you can drink, you can do drugs, you can do whatever when you're adult. I don't care. That's your own life. You'll figure it out. But these things, I am telling you, you are not allowed to do. He's like, I don't care if you're in your 50s and I'm dead. Like, you're not allowed to do them. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And what's funny is, like, as somebody who's always, like, how do I say this? Has always been fascinated in, like, the paranormal and the strange and all that. I think people would be really surprised. Like, I do not mess around with EVPs. I don't mess around with Ouija boards. I don't go out and do ghost hunts. I try to avoid those things. And it's not because I don't believe in them or that they're silly. It's quite the opposite. I don't want to engage in those kind of things for for very real reasons. I don't necessarily discourage people from doing that. If they want to do it, great. I'll listen. I'll listen to what you found on a recording. I will watch the video you captured while doing a session in a graveyard. Like, I'll intake the content after the fact, but I'm not going to go get it myself.
Yeah.
So,
there's I don't remember what it's called, but there was a thing where you would take a video camera and point it at a television and set it to a channel that is just static. And then you would film it, and then you would go back and look at the footage, and you would see people. And that was something where I was like, oh, I have a video camera, I could do this. But my fear is, with something like EVPs and whatnot, is that it's always, you're kind of opening that door, and I don't, stuff can come through. So I'm like, I don't want to necessarily do that and leave the door open and then, oh great, now I'm haunted or something, so I don't, that's,
you want
so,
a ghost. This is how you get a ghost.
Yeah, you want ghosts. So now, granted, when I was messing around with a Ouija board, I didn't, I mean, maybe that's where I got the foundation to be afraid of this kind of stuff, which is why, probably in a good way, why I don't fool around with it. Do you
remember, and this is an important question, and I apologize, but because I will say a lot of people, like, example, when my dad sat me down to have that talk, I truly thought that the Ouija board was literally just a toy to spook. I had no idea of its real world counterparts. I didn't realize that the planchette was a very real thing, that basically a spirit board existed, well before Victorian times. They were just made popular in Victorian times and the seances and stuff, but people have been doing that kind of thing for forever. I literally thought it was just a dumb toy that was meant to be scary. And so it was, anyway, but my question is, like, your introduction to the Ouija board and playing around with it, do you recall if you thought it was a toy or something more, or something in the middle?
If memory serves, because we're going back, like, to when I quite a while ago.
Year.
I believe like Witchboard had just
Mm-hmm.
come out, and like so Ouija boards were and there was one of the Amityvilles where they were playing with a Ouija board, and so it was kind of like one of those hot button topics. And I had an older sister who was really into horror, so I got a lot of stuff kind of from her. So I think that kind of all bled into it. And I lived in the suburbs, and I was friends with all the kids on the street. And there was a girl who lived up the street,
God, your
and
whole life's a scary movie. I hope you know
it
this, right?
it really is. And
Every story is like an absolute movie scene.
it certainly is. It's weird, you know. I'm like, am I living in a movie, or am I? It just
Art imitating life, imitating art.
it seriously is. It's so weird. I've had so many strange experiences, but again, a lot of like this one. This is one that I experienced, but I didn't go looking for it. A lot of my other ones, I went looking for trouble and I found it. This is one that trouble found me, so to speak. The girl up the street had a Ouija board. I don't know how. I don't recall. But I had seen it. I think they were talking about it in like 2020 or something. And I was just like, okay, you know, what's this about? And so we all would sit down, and there were three of us, and we would move it around, and it was either two or three of us. And it always struck me as odd, because you get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, it's just one of you moving it around. And I'm like, but they would move it around and would know to stop at the right point. I don't know. It always seemed peculiar to me. So I'm like, no, there's something there. It's weird and creepy. But we had got this one spirit that we kept getting him to come back. And we were asking questions about the afterlife and all this. And we had a couple of odd experiences. The two that stand out were, there's one that was really scary, and then there was the other that was just the end. We would play it outside, and we were in the yard, and we were playing. I mean, I always thought it was creepy. I never saw it as a toy. I always thought it was this, we're talking to the afterlife. I took it pretty seriously. So the people that I was with didn't take it as seriously. And we were asking it a bunch of questions, and we were like, well, make something happen. If scare us, make something real happen. And a bird fell out of the sky dead and landed nearby, like where we were sitting.
That's some Omen nonsense. Are you kidding me?
Right. And so I was like, all right, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then the girl, the thing that happened with her was she went to bed, and she always closed her drapes. And she woke up the next morning, and her drapes were wide open, and her parents swore that they didn't open the drapes. And so she tried to get rid of the board, and it was one of those, like, threw it in the trash, and then like went and found it in her room. And so I eventually had to there's more to the story that if I really sat down and thought about it, I could come up with it. But it's been so long. I'd have to go. I made a video about it. I have to go back and re-listen to the video and be like, oh, right, I forgot about this. But I eventually had to talk to my parents, and I'm like, we were messing around with a Ouija board, and they're like, oh my, what? And I had to go talk to because I was raised, Irish Catholic. So I had to go talk to the priest and confess my sins and get blessed, and everyone.
All jokes aside, I mean,
oh yeah, no, seriously, I mean, they're like,
that couldn't have hurt.
We got a lot of creepy things that happened that I'm just because we asked a lot of very odd questions, and as kids do, yeah. So it was just, we didn't know what we were fooling around with, and I really don't.
There's a reason why it's marketed to children. I'm very strongly in belief that I think between the energy and the innocence that children put off, I think they're more open to things because they don't have the solidified thoughts and emotional maturity in life to just know certain things or be confident in certain things. I think they're little
Right.
conductors, and whoever marketed that towards children, I personally believe it was, and this is going to sound extremely radical, but I think it was a very deliberate act of evil to market those to kids. I don't think it was just, we'll just make some money and sell this nonsense to kids. I really do, because I think that's where, and even teenagers, I think kids, teenagers,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Teenagers too. You know,
I think
they're still
they're
kids. You know,
they're antennae. They're little beacons of energy and yeah. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
no.
that poor girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was terrified. So she, same thing. Told her parents, and we were just we were forbidden to play with which none of us wanted to play with it anymore. Anyway,
Yeah, you're like, yeah, no, I'll never
they're
touch
like,
it
you
again.
can't do that anymore. It's like, don't worry, we are
would
not
have
going
been-
anywhere near this thing.
This is going to sound highly inappropriate, but you would have been better off coming to your parents and saying, like, we had premarital sex than probably coming back with the Ouija boards. Like, they probably would have.
Well, that was the thing. My mom was an old. I'm half Irish, half Italian. My mom was an old, Italian woman, and so she, church every Sunday would go, and so she's saying rosaries, and so I think me meddling with the dark arts was just, oh my God, I think premarital sex would have also been bad, but I was not, none of us were doing any of that at that point.
That's why you lived.
That's why I lived, is because I didn't. I was just
horror movie rules.
I was fiddling around with the Ouija board, but I always thought that it's such a legitimately creepy, weird thing, and there's never been there's been, I like Witchboard. I think it's a good horror movie, but it's not really a Ouija board movie. It's Tony Katane gets possessed, and it's more of a demonic possession movie than a Ouija board movie. And then they did Blumhouse did the Ouija movie, and it was terrible. And it's like, why is it so? This thing is creepy by itself. You could do so many things with it, and it's one of the things that they've just never made a legitimately good, scary Ouija board movie.
Well, it's just like they briefly feature, or I guess mention it in The Exorcist. That was the gateway. It's very, if you blink, you miss it. But in the beginning, it's a Ouija board.
Right. Yeah. Going back to, Regan was playing around with it, and I gotta go back and rewatch that. But it was, you know what? I wonder if it's funny too. My dad was he had a really good sense of humor, but he was pretty serious a lot of times. Nothing really scared him except for The Exorcist.
Yeah.
He did not like that at all. He was terrified, and my dad did not get scared. My dad was in the army. Nothing really scared him, and he saw The Exorcist. It was like, nope. So he did not like that at all.
The third Exorcist is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I know it's a little bit cliche to say, but that jump scare
it is one of the most earned jump scares out there, because
masterclass. You can recreate it.
It's perfect, because you're not. It did it long enough to where you weren't you're like, oh, something's coming. Oh, nothing's happening, and then boom, and then that's when they drop it.
They zoomed in zoomed out, and it's just a masterclass. They couldn't probably recreate it if they tried, and I don't think you could. Like, you couldn't. It was just how they did it in that moment, and the music, that really that violin-y kind of.
Holy.
The I was going to touch on this like an hour and 15 minutes ago, but Bagul.
Oh, Bagul, yes, Bagul.
Bagul. Oh, I saw that in the theater.
I love
ashamed.
the first one. The first one is
The first
so
one.
good. It is, the only thing is the jump at the end. It was so unnecessary, because I remember
agree.
watching it and I'm sitting
That
there.
pool scene was haunting.
The pool scene was so, and the lawnmower, I thought that was a amazingly earned jump scare. Because they did it the same way. It's like they're going around. You're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. Oh my God, there's a person.
The
so
soundtrack was, or not the soundtrack, but
the score was,
it was designed to like it. Oof! It's insidious.
It's all, believe it or not, that whole score is one song by, I think it's Ulster. I used to listen to it, and it's so crazy. It's like this 40-minute long song that has all those different elements in it. It's this really bizarre thing. But I remember watching that, and then I heard they were doing a sequel, and I'm like, oh no. And the sequel was exactly what I thought they were going to do. Everything, like the first one, it made sense, because like all the deaths were like, okay, they could do this, they could do this. The new one, the sequel, I'm like, wait, there's a kid and he's feeding his parents to a crocodile. What? That doesn't make sense. How can they do that? That's not possible. So it was so dumb.
I have one of those things where, like, I don't go out of my way to watch stuff with Ethan Hawke, but he gives it his all. I appreciate a good Ethan Hawke movie.
I like Ethan Hawke a lot, because there have been movies that he's been in that I've been disappointed in, but it's never because of him. He always delivers. And more times than not, you end up with a movie that is really amazing. Something like Gattaca. If you've never seen Gattaca, you should. Gattaca is so good. But nobody, I mean, I'm saying, nobody, but, it's not a very well-known movie, but it's a terrific movie.
I know your show is very formulated and you have it down pat, and I don't know if you ever have any other type of outlets. I think you mentioned a Discord earlier when we were talking kind of behind the scenes, but whether we do something like this again, but vice versa, and we talk about movies on one of your projects, or we just become like computer buddies, there's so much we have to talk about that we have just barely scratched the surface. I would love to chat about movies and high strangeness, and this has been so fun, Cecil. I can't tell you. This has been, like you were talking about earlier, never meet your heroes. And I'm not trying, like, you're not a hero per se, but
I'm just that's the thing. Like, I mean, I know I'm just a guy that talks about movies. So, like, and I think there's a distinct difference in that. So yeah, I mean, don't think of me as like a hero. I'm an old guy that likes movies a lot and doesn't know how to be a normal person. So I talk about movies.
Yes. Yeah. I just, it's so fun when you meet people who conversations are easy. You can just kind of nerd out whatever. And when you don't have to force conversation, it's the opposite. I am reeling back. We should have wrapped up 20 minutes ago. And if you're still with us, guys, thank you so much. I can hear my producer just like get the vaudeville cane, just like the wrap it up speech music has been playing for darn near 20 minutes. So I will have to end this, but Cecil, this has been great. Thank you for being a springboard for conversation that maybe, like I said, people tuning in who aren't coming at this from strictly a paranormal, supernatural perspective, or maybe the people who, are way more skeptical or think that the only time we have these conversations are with other like-minded individuals, which I'm not saying you're not like-minded, but to just broaden the conversational scope a little bit more, I think is so important. And I'm so glad I got to do this with you. And for everybody who's, like I said in the beginning of this video, I've been on a bit of a hiatus longer than I intended, but hopefully with wonderful videos like this, I'm getting back into it, and we'll have some more great guests in the future. But I would just love to get you on the books for something down the road, because we got to have a part two, a part deux, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to say this now. I'm not just saying this to be polite. I would very much like to come back.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. I'm a little bit rusty, but this has been fun, and I would, well, as soon as we wrap this up, we'll have to look at our schedules and make something work. I will just heads up, my outro is like super long. The audience knows. It's like it's the banger song in the intro, but just longer.
Just the extended cut.
Oh, I love it. I know it's really kind of self-serving to say, but I'm like, I love it. I really do. I really, really do. But if you want to hang out after the intro, we can hang out here and finish up conversation. But if you have to go, I understand. But if you want to hang for a few minutes after the intro, that'd be great. But to the audience, this is me. This is Ashley Range. This has been Home on the Strange. Thank you to my, now I can say, good friend Cecil with GoodBadFlicks. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. I believe you also have an X account.
Yes, GoodBadFlicks on X, GoodBadFlicks on YouTube, GoodBadFlicks on Facebook.
On Facebook,
all your, not on Instagram though. There's a fake me on Instagram, which I don't know why somebody would want to fake me, but I've tried to get it taken down, but they won't. So if you see me on Instagram, that's not me.
That's actually really good for people to know. I appreciate that, because it's easy to assume that there would be an Instagram. So let's just keep it to YouTube and X. Check him out. He's one of the OGs, one of my personal favorites. It's a good time. But until next time, again, Ashley Range, Home on the Strange. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.